Merge. Okay. I guess the next thing is figuring out how to export this, but we can worry about that later.
Yeah. All right, we're up and running.
Hello.
Now we have to think of something to call it.
I was thinking exit stage left.
Yeah, I like that.
I think it might be taken, but we become more popular than them.
Yeah.
But it only works if we become more popular than them. If we don't, we're fucked.
If we don't, we get sued and taken to jail.
We're going to have such a live theme song. Why are none of our friends musically talented except for Madison on the piano, kind of?
Yeah.
We could get Bridget to play something on the bassoon.
Hey, man, I can play the guitar.
Oh, you're so right, dude. Dude, you could get us a sweet guitar riff, and then I could edit that in front of the podcast.
Yeah, that'd be sweet. I'll do a little electric riff. Oh, it could be like a version of whatever movie soundtrack, like the horror, like the Halloween theme.
Ooh, like
with some sort of cool version though. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I'll work on it.
That would be live, though. Dude, okay. So, Halloween Kills. What did we think?
2021 Halloween Kills is discussion of topic.
All right, so I think we should start out by saying what the plot is.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let's see. What happens in this one? Michael Myers is back. He thought that you'd seen the last of him in that burning building, but you guessed wrong. He's back, baby, and he's killing more people than ever. And god damn it, is it brutal?
Yeah, brutal kills in this one.
And then the whole town comes sort of together to kill him. You know.
Mm-hmm. A lot of flashbacks to the past in this one. A lot of references to the 70s. A lot of reoccurring characters from the older movie.
You want to go spoilers, then we'll do not spoiler than spoiler. But I feel like most of what I want to say is in spoilers.
Yeah, I think everything's kind of a spoiler.
All right, spoilers in case you wanted to watch this movie. Check it out.
Yeah. Why don't you start out by telling me your overall opinion, good or bad?
I'm kind of mixed. I feel like this movie did a lot of things right, but a lot of the ideas were half-baked. I felt like it kind of, you know what, this actually felt like it fit more in with maybe the Rob Zombie Halloweens than the new trilogy in terms of like violence. But I guess I'll give credit in this sense that I do feel like I don't think I've seen kills that brutal in a Halloween movie since the Rob Zombie movies, which I felt kind of crossed that line into like maybe grotesque and self-indulgent in terms of kills that weren't satisfying. But these kills are just mwah, kiss. Love it.
I agree. There was pretty much every single kill. I was like, God damn. It's like, damn, that's tough.
Damn, that firefighter really took an axe to the face or whatever that device was.
Dude, a pickaxe right to the face, multiple guys.
That was a really good scene. Like, I will say the first 20 minutes of this movie I thought were amazing. I thought whenever it started and I was like, Well, okay, here's one thing that I thought was very interesting from the start was when, what is his name, Cameron?
Yeah.
The guy character who's Allison's boyfriend. I thought it was really cool that, like, he, like, to portray a character in drag, like, being heroic in a horror movie. I don't really ever, remember or can recall seeing that before. I felt like that was representation, but it was, like, so well done that you don't really notice it.
Yeah, I was a little bit confused at first because I was like, why is he wearing a dress? And then I remembered from the last one, it was like their costume, right?
Yeah.
They were like Bonnie and Clyde.
He wore that pencil skirt the whole movie. He was moving.
Yeah, and by the last half hour of it, I was like, this is not really the best outfit to be looking to kill a murderer in. Like, he's like walking around with a gun, like through the woods searching, and he's just wearing a dress. I'm like, I mean, good for you, dude, but.
Well, that's his whole town. They're all loose units.
Yeah.
Everyone in this town has got a gun in this movie.
Yeah, and they were handing them out to the children. Tommy Doyle was like, yeah, just take whatever you want to like this, what I'm assuming is a high school aged girl.
Oh yeah, they definitely were like at homecoming or prom or whatever it was in the last movie.
Like, yeah, take whatever gun you want. Shotgun, fine. Go have a fun time with it, trying to shoot this random guy.
Yeah. What did you think about in the opening scene? Like, what did you think of the flashback? Because that opening scene where Cameron came over to save Officer Hawkins, I was like, first of all, who is this guy? They've introduced way too many new characters in this, this movie and the last one for like me to keep up with. I don't remember a lot of their names. Like, I only knew who they were talking about. What's his name? The new Loomis from the last one, because somebody called him Dr. Whatever or whatever.
Yeah.
And I remember him not being very good in the last one. But
I remembered him just because this guy was the new, he was the new head sheriff or whatever. So I kind of remembered him, and then I got the feeling that the flashback was him, younger. But I did appreciate the flashback, I think, just because it kind of gave us some backstory. But I was surprised. So I couldn't tell if some of it was like actual footage from some of the older movies or if that was all new corroborated stuff. Because if that was a Donald Pleasance stand-in, he was very realistic.
Yeah. So
I couldn't tell if that was actually a Donald Pleasance cameo or if that was all new footage with someone who they just did really good makeup for him.
At first, I couldn't really tell. Well, I was like, obviously this is CGI. Like, I don't think there's, I don't know, because at that part, I was so enthralled with the flashback because I was like, oh no, I know where this is going. Like, I know where this is going. And then I remembered that this doesn't follow the continuity of Halloween 2. So they can create whatever they want to after Michael falls off the balcony, which I was like, that's an aspect that I wish these movies leaned a little bit more into. Speaking of this, speaking on this new David Gordon Green trilogy of Halloweens, I feel like that if they want to cut out every other Halloween except for the first one, that's a really interesting way that you can then build in a different backstory for these characters or see what the damages are over the years or seeing what actually happened. How did Michael get caught then? And I'm not a huge fan of getting every answer in a movie, but I feel like in this it was done particularly well. Like, I agree with you 100%. It looked like the real 1970s. Not like a movie like Hollywood 1970s, but like the actual 1970s.
Yeah. Yeah, it was nice to see. I felt like they kept things very true to the original series, or at least the first two in this one. And that's why I will say I think I like this one more than the last most recent one, because this one just felt very like no weird shit, no weird new doctor trying to jerk off into his mask. Yeah, it was just
no more. I got peanut butter on my dick.
It was just old-fashioned. Michael Myers is killing people, and the town is getting wrecked. And I kind of appreciated that. So I think this film deserved more credit than the reviews gave it. I think Rotten Tomatoes was like 50 something, and the other one with the 4-leaf clover, whatever that one is, gave it like even less, like 30%.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I'd seen that Rotten Tomatoes gave it like a 38. I mean, I don't really care about that shit, but like, I don't know. Speaking on this movie as a whole, I guess, if I like it better than the first Halloween, I think I like them both, but for different reasons. Like, I have my problems with the 2018 version.
yeah.
That wasn't a perfect movie. But I just feel like some of the stuff in this movie is, like, could have been so much better, but it was just an underdeveloped idea. And this movie was just, like, for me, there was way too many subplots just dragging this film down. Like, I mean,
Yeah, I agree.
honestly, I was kind of thinking, like, this movie just might be all subplots. Like, I didn't really see, like, a full arc unless you're including, like, Tommy Doyle or, like who learned anything at the end of this movie, I guess, other than somebody close to them dying. And I mean,
well, everybody died pretty much.
Yeah, but I don't know. That was just a little bit frustrating. That was like, you're introducing so many new characters and then killing them off so quickly and then presenting them as if they're so important to the lore of this franchise that it's like, how can I get invested? I didn't even care about any of these, you know. And I like Allison. I like, I like a lot of the new characters that they've introduced. I just feel like they are not the focus of these movies, and that's ultimately what's holding it back.
Yeah, the whole Tommy Doyle side plot was pretty big. I mean, I think that was an important plot, but I mean, it worked for the movie, but I think almost took away a little bit as well.
Did you feel like that would have been an accurate representation of him 40 years later?
No, not at all.
Really?
When I saw that, I don't know. It's not what I was expecting. I was surprised when he said that's who it was, because he just, like, in a way, yeah, he seemed very obsessed with the situation, which I think would be accurate. Like, I'm sure this guy kind of obsessed his whole life over trying to find this guy because it's so dramatic. But also I feel like he would have been a little bit more, like, not so hardened as this guy seemed. Like, I felt like he should have been a little bit more of a compassionate character. Like, he just seemed kind of disconnected. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's hard to explain.
I get what you mean. For me, I felt like that character could have gone in that direction. Like, and yes, I agree. Like, he could have been a kinder guy or whatever. But, like, I felt that the character or path they had put him on was, one that could have been foreseeable. I just felt it was weird to me that they had this Michael Myers support group for the survivors, and then, like, they had clearly, like, understood the menace, the terror, the force of destruction that Michael Myers was. But then none of them seemed to understand what that actually meant, like how dangerous he actually was. Like, they seemed to understand the situation really well, but then Tommy Doyle's like, well, I'll just go at him with this baseball bat really quick, and he won't even see me coming. Like, I don't understand. If y'all have been meeting for years and years and years, like, and actually worked through this trauma, which, like, they could have equally done, and that would have been interesting. Like, if these characters can't move on from this trauma, and, like, where are they at there? But the script wants to have it both ways, I feel, where they acknowledge the trauma and they're the people who are set the alarm bells off for everybody else, but they don't really get it. They don't get it.
Yeah, I would think that someone who's been waiting for this opportunity for 40 years would have a better weapon than a baseball bat.
Yeah. I mean, look at
like
Jamie
maybe
Lee
some
Curtis. She had that
explosives.
whole Home Alone house.
Yeah, for real. Which, by the way, I have to send you this funny YouTube video. It was like a robot chicken video that I saw on YouTube about if Michael Myers, like if Kevin and Jamie Lee Curtis like lived next door, like Laurie Strode and Kevin, if they lived next door to each other, and Michael Myers accidentally went to Kevin's house and the robbers went to Laurie's house. And like
so the bandits also exist in this universe.
Yeah, the bandits, like, get locked up in the death trap house, and Michael Myers just murders Kevin. Like, none of his traps work on him.
Joe Pesci gets burned alive in a basement.
Yeah.
Like, I thought it was just supposed to be the top of me head.
Yeah, and like Kevin's like throwing paint cans and shit at Michael Myers, and it's just like bouncing off of him. Just like, and Kevin's just like, oh fuck.
Yeah, dude. I don't think there's any. Do you think there's a way to kill him? How do you think they're going?
So that's what I wrote towards. Here, why don't we go through like the whole movie, whatever points you took, because that was like towards the end. Yeah, I just started writing like, you know, is this guy actually gonna die?
We can save a predictions part.
Yeah. So one
how
thing
we think
that
this movie will lead into the next.
Yeah. The first thing that I thought was during the first flashback scene, which for if anyone ends up listening to this and hasn't watched it, it's, you know, after Michael Myers comes out of the house, he gets surrounded by police, and like they're totally ready to open fire on his ass. You know, he has 10 cops all pointing guns at him.
Guns ablaze.
Yeah, and so I said, this guy literally is fresh off of killing like 4 people, and he just killed another one 5 seconds ago. Why are the police just not instantly shooting his ass? Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, this guy...
They all didn't open fire?
Yeah, like, is that how I mean, I'm no police officer, but is that how the judicial system works? If someone is literally mid-murder, you can still just take them to prison instead of trying to, like, stop them and kill them? Like, why didn't anybody shoot his ass on the spot? Like, they know what he just did.
Yeah. I mean, I like... No, go ahead.
I mean, you see eventually that Loomis was going to shoot him, and that police officer stopped him. But still, I don't know. I feel like he could have easily just gotten killed right then and there.
Yeah. Because what happened? That cut back to Laurie's house, right? Right after that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have here, I put Lurkin Loomis. He was lurking right behind Michael.
Yeah.
I feel like he lurked into the frame. I was like, holy shit, it's Dr. Loomis. He looks pretty good, I have to say, for a dead CGI character. But they had a shot of him in close-up at the end, and it was like, ooh, too close.
I'm not sure if that was CGI. It could have just been someone with prosthetics and a lot of makeup and, you know, tricky camera work. Because, like, yeah, it didn't look exactly like him in the close-up, but I don't know if it looked completely, like, fake either.
Yeah. To me, he looked a little rubbery.
Yeah, I mean,
but
yeah.
I thought that was great, and like I loved the opening because it looked like it even switched over and started to have this, like, you know, they must have shot it on film, or I don't know, to get that film grain, because you could clearly see like it had switched over and there was, you know, grain in the film. But like, I loved that, and I kind of loved the first responder angle almost. So like, these cops have to go and chase this killer, and they have to go into the Myers home even if they don't want to.
Yeah.
There was something that added like an extra layer of scare to that these guys had to do it, which I thought was then a really good parallel when they cut back to Laurie's house on fire, and they're just like, the firemen are just trying to put this, you know, a blazing house out before it burns down, I don't know, the 50 acres of woods behind Laurie's home. And they're trying to, like, you know, evacuate people. And then that one firefighter just falls through into the cellar. And I was like, in a lesser horror movie, I feel they would have found a worse way to let Michael escape. And I felt like that was a really good example of how to do that, and maybe we've seen stuff like that in horror movies before, but I feel like they did a really good job of shooting it from the firefighters' perspective and showing them going into the building and getting their POV, and then for them to be standing out on the front lawn like holy fucking shit, like when Michael Myers emerges from the home, like as it's just set ablaze, and they just have to fucking fend for their lives. Like there was something extra horrific about that.
That scene was pretty badass when he is just walking through the flames. It was like, I don't know, it was like a very, I don't know, felt like a very powerful moment. Like everyone's just like, shit.
Yeah.
And,
I mean, they were coming at him with some good weapons.
Yeah, I know. I like no other. I feel like, no lesser killer could have taken on a team of like 6 or 7 firefighters, and just effortlessly pickaxe them all in the face.
That guy with the hose did nothing. I thought he was gonna do something. I'm like, wow, that hose is secretly powerful. Like they got a lot of water pressure coming out of there. But fuck, Michael Myers just walked right through that bitch.
Yeah.
Like it was so nothing. And then he stabbed that guy with that like poker prod that the first firefighter had, and just lifted that dude up and had him horizontal.
Yeah, chainsaw the guy.
Yeah. I mean, that was brutal stuff, and I felt like that was, like I said earlier, I felt like that was stuff that Rob Zombie had tried to do with the franchise, that just teetered into, I don't know, his style that I'm not a big fan
I feel like Rob Zombie's crutch is like over glorification. And like this movie, there were like good kills, but it wasn't necessarily like disgusting gore,
But what about when that woman got? Well, we'll get to there. We'll get to there.
The light bulb.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wrote that too. That was pretty fucked up.
I was like waiting for that shit to hit the floor and just like, because it had filled up with blood. And like I thought it was gonna hit the floor and just like burst. Blood was gonna burst everywhere. Like that shit was. Oh, and shout out to the sound department on this movie, because like it was so uncomfortable because you could hear her go like blood gurgling. Like, oh, it was so just disgusting and like, ugh.
And just like how effortlessly it went right through her neck.
Yeah.
It was just like, damn, that must be a terrible way to die.
Yeah.
But I liked how what?
Yeah. Well, yeah, terrible way to die. All right, let's go to the second act now. Pressing on.
I just liked how it picked up right where the last one left off, pretty much. Like Lori and her family were in the back of that car. Like it felt like you could watch these two movies back to back and not really skip a beat, which is not always the most common in horror movies. People have moved on with the situation.
Yeah. Or they kind of just give you a flashback.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, but I mean, they kind of left it off like that. Like they always leave it off like Michael Myers is still alive. This is the situation. So,
what did you think of? Did you like the bar scene where they're all at the bar, hanging out, telling tales?
Yeah. So that was the first time that we meet Tommy Doyle, right, and Lindsay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it was all right. I thought it was a fine way to introduce those characters.
Yeah, I felt like they shouldn't have left the bar.
Oh yeah, big time.
I don't know. See, like some of this felt like, oh, it's cool because we get to see it from another character's perspective. Like we get to see the kind of how the events of the 2018 movie get seen through the eyes of these other characters. But then they just, I don't know, I didn't really like any of them. I felt like some of them were like so unnecessary. It was just like gratuitous.
Yeah, like those two, that one black couple, the doctor and nurse.
No, I mean, like, no, that was actually cool, like, to see them from the last movie. Like, I liked when the narratives kind of intertwined like that.
Oh, what?
Like,
I didn't know they were in the last movie.
yeah, they were going to their car when Michael was walking down the street. That's why they have the whole scene where she's like, "Oh my God, that's like 4 houses down from our house."
Oh shit.
And then like they had that
the other one before.
Well, like that. I guess that's the other problem is that like since they burned through characters so quickly in the last one and they are so intertwined, they do kind of feature better as a back-to-back. Although this movie doesn't end like a back-to-back should.
Yeah.
It almost like it needs a sequel because that is not a satisfying ending.
Huh.
We'll get to that in a bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. The bar scene was iffy. I didn't really think much about it. I mean, I just thought it was necessary to continue the story. And then it goes to these 2 guys, those 2 gay guys.
Big John and Little John.
Yeah. So the first thing I thought was...
Would you be Big John or would you be Little John?
I would be Big John. I thought, who the fuck are these guys? And second, why are they both named John? Like, really? They couldn't do any better than that?
You know Danny McBride put that in the script.
No, I didn't know that.
That has Danny McBride written all over it.
Big John and Little John.
I thought that was funny. I like seeing
was,
them. I think, again, that was like a good use of representation where they weren't like a stereotypical gay couple.
Oh, yeah.
You know, living in the Myers home. Like, I thought, honestly, their scenes were some of the best in the movie, to be honest. Like, they were funny, and, like, I enjoyed their scenes a lot more than some of the other scenes.
It was just different. Like, they were pretty unique characters, I think.
Yeah.
I liked when they were talking to the kids and outside, and he was like, one of them was like, yeah, Michael Myers stabbed his sister right in the tits. It's like, damn, right in the tits.
Right in the titties. Yeah, I thought it was weird. Did you find it odd how they were like just so flaunting the fact they lived in a serial killer's house?
Yeah, it seemed like their like secret like kink is like it turns them off that they're living.
I was just gonna say secret kink.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like they and even like, so fast forwarding a bit, but eventually like when they get killed and Michael Myers is in the house, like the second guy, when he sees him, it's almost like he's like almost happy to see him. Like he's like, oh my God, Michael, like you came home. Like he knew the guy.
That was a good scene. I really liked Michael McDonald's delivery on that too. I thought it was, he said it and it was like, wow, that's kind of the line of the movie. Because I mean, that was the tagline of the first Halloween. I felt it had a lot of weight behind it.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a big undertone of this movie, is like Michael's always going to come home, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, which, I mean, it's true to character, and, like, I don't know. I felt they had some weird stuff. Like, what did you think of Laurie and Hawkins having that conversation at the hospital where they're, like, trying to parse blame, like self-blame? And it was like, no, he was never after Laurie. He was after the house, and the doctor took him to Laurie's house in the last one.
Yeah, I didn't know about that. I always...
Dumb. I don't think you needed it. I'll say it. I think it's dumb.
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone's kind of just accepted that Michael Myers seems to have an obsession with Laurie. Like, that's how they kind of made it, like, seem.
Yeah, and I always liked the idea that she was his victim that got away. And so he's, like, constantly trying to chase her down to, like, get her. And
yeah, I didn't really like that.
I felt like so unnecessary and like you don't need to explain it. No one asked.
Yeah.
Stop dry snitching. Nobody asked you nothing, David Gordon Green, director of this film.
I mean, I think their interaction was like maybe something that the film needed, but not that conversation.
Yeah, and I felt it was also interesting. Like Laurie hinted at a backstory of like potential substance abuse and trauma from the event. From the first Halloween, which is interesting, but they've only so lightly touched on that. Like, I would have loved to see them explore that more in this movie. It just feels a lot of the time they're coasting on, like, an idea, and they just don't expand on it.
Yeah, it seems like they kind of just did a word vomit in the writer's room and threw a bunch of ideas into one scene.
And they threw it up into my eyeballs coming out of my TV.
Yeah. And then also they hinted at, like, the fact that those two had some sort of relationship together, like, romantically.
I was honestly of the opinion that they should have had more flashbacks in this movie. I thought that was so interesting that they could go back and replicate that time period so accurately and then just do whatever they want with it because they don't have to follow the continuity of Halloween 2. I believe that was, like, the first movie that, like, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we'll edit this out. But, like, that was one of the first, like, kind of movies of this new era of kind of just, like, trimming out whatever sequels you don't want and then making a sequel to, I don't know, like the new Candyman movie that came out or, stuff along those lines where, it's a continuation or like Terminator, Dark Fate. But I feel like, I guess Terminator Dark Fate leaned into it with, like, killing John Connor. But I don't know. They didn't accurately, like, depict that. It was really CGI and rubbery, and everyone looked weird. But but I don't know. I liked the idea that they could go back and, like, what else was Michael doing that night? And you can it's just a blank slate to do whatever, And so, like, I feel you could have done that with other things like Laurie and whatever the sheriff's name, I'm blanking on, the sheriff guy. Hawkins, yeah. Like, thank you. Like, you could have had flashbacks with them, but I feel like, I don't know.
Like, it just gets so tricky because, like, people are very fast to disassociate from the film if the flashbacks are bad, like if they're using different characters and stuff. I mean, different actors.
And I went into the film thinking that, like, I don't want this to be a lot of flashbacks. And, like, some of it was gratuitous, like when they were introducing the old new characters where you have Tommy Doyle and, like, we even talked about Lindsay Wallace and Kyle Richards. Look, I don't know. I didn't think she's a good actress. I don't think she was very good. But, or the nurse, I can't remember whose name I can't remember. But I felt like all those flashbacks were, like, to give them a character introduction were really cheap. Like, it was like, really? If you gotta go back that far and you can't even give them a proper character introduction, like, they're not even integral to this movie in any way, really. I mean, like, they are, but they could very easily. You know what this movie was? This movie felt like a post-credit scene.
The whole movie?
Yeah.
How so?
Like, this feels like, just in the sense that I feel you could have ended the last one on pretty much any one of these scenes, and then, like, because this movie, I guess, overall to me feels like it's an incomplete movie. Like, what did I just watch? What was the purpose of this? This kind of feels like filler. And I enjoyed a lot of the kills, but I'm like, who am I rooting for in this movie? I guess is ultimately what it comes down to. Is like, who's the main character of this movie? There's too many side characters introduced for them to really have a main character or focus on one. I really thought that this would be more of an Allison movie. to kind of transition that
the other
franchise
one,
over to that direction. But
so the next one must be, I would say, like, it might feel like that because the next one that they've apparently already finished shooting is going to be an instant continuation, or maybe more of like a part 2 to this. But so many of the characters in this one die, the only thing left is, you know, Allison and Lori.
But I guess what I'm saying is that there's no change, like, in their character, or their character doesn't really have a significant act that I could see carrying over to the next movie. You know what I mean? Like, if I said, how did, other than just people dying and her getting trauma, like, what really did Allison do or make a character choice between this movie, like Halloween Kills and Halloween 2018?
Yeah. I think the main purpose has to be either Michael kills Lori or Lori kills Michael.
I think that's what they're setting up for, but it's like, this movie feels like a big promotion for that, I guess is what I mean in terms of a post-credit scene. That it's like the showdown between Lori and Michael, and like them, I guess, like having a showdown at the Myers house with Lori's knife. But I don't know. Do you want that? Do you want to see them wrestle and punch about in the next one? Is that what people want from this franchise?
I don't know. I think people want closure. Honestly, I probably wouldn't be upset if Michael finally died in the last one somehow, but I feel like that's not going to happen.
No. I don't think they'll kill him either.
But him killing Lori in some weird way would be just as much closure, I think, to any fan of this movie. It's kind of what they've been working up towards since the first one.
Yeah, but at the same time, like, how much can you like tell me about these characters that we met in the first movie and now we're going into the big finale? I feel like I can't tell you that much about Allison's character, or even I was looking forward to learning more about Lori's character, even though I knew she was going to be in the hospital most of the time. But
yeah,
I think that this, ironically enough, this movie reminds me of Halloween 2, where it has the problem of being bogged down at the hospital. I mean, this movie doesn't do it nearly as well as Halloween 2 with the atmosphere of the abandoned hospital in, Halloween 2. But, like, I don't know, both of these movies relied on a lot of randos, and there were a lot of rando deaths. Like, for as much as I enjoyed Big and Little John, respectively, they're not making it to Halloween Ends. They're not making it to the next one. So, like, it's weird to see that they chose to do this in such a way where they, like, introduce characters, and I'm like, I kind of like those guys, or I kind of like, even though they did a complete 180 on Cameron's character, I was like, I'm starting to like that guy. Like, I'm coming around to him. And then they just, like, kill everybody.
Well, maybe we just eventually have to face the fact that there are no main characters except for Michael. You know, I mean, pretty much every movie, there's been new characters that have been introduced and then killed off, except for Lori. She's like the only character that's been withstanding. I mean, take like at least a lot of the newer ones, like after like 5, 6, like there were characters that we got to know.
What about Jamie Lloyd? She didn't get killed off.
Oh yeah,
4 and 5.
Yeah, you're right.
I saw an article today that people were saying that they should bring her back for the third one.
Yeah.
Which I think would be cool, but at the same time, like, I think they've already got so much going on. And the other thing is, like, you could pace this stuff out and make, like, where you have a proper movie to introduce Tommy Doyle or Lindsay Wallace. But, like, I get that she'll be in the next one, but I don't know, dude. To be honest, like, I don't think Kyle Richards is that good of an actor. Like, That is like kind of worrisome if they have to pin the whole next movie on her, like as a lead character. Because in this one, I felt like she was fine and blended in this movie, like, but I don't know, it was a little wooden. At least Tommy Doyle had that weird Irish stare.
I'm trying to think. Yeah, I'm looking at my at what else I wrote. Oh yeah, and there was that other there was that whole side thing with like that escaped mental patient. You know,
which I thought was
killed himself.
Which I thought was another good idea. Like that this town could kind of like turn into monsters, and they're like, "Oh, Michael turned us all into monsters," and I was like, "No, y'all are monsters. Actually, like y'all made that scared mental patient jump from the building and have a really."
Yeah, I felt so bad for that guy.
He just looked confused and like sad, and like he was always shuffling about. And
like I
like,
like
let's
that
get him,
concept, but it kind of was also a little bit confusing because the whole time I was like, "Who the fuck is this guy?"
I don't even remember him escaping in the first one. Did they say that there were two killers that escaped in the first one?
I don't think they showed him specifically, but there was something with like a bus crash and escaped people, and so they just said like that was one of the escaped mental patients, but he wasn't even on screen for that much, and when he was just running around all confused, and so I was like, what's the deal with this character? He killed himself, and then I was like, oh shit.
Dude, his brains were splattered.
Yeah, that shit was
like, oh my god, dude. I think if it weren't so graphic, it could be a meme, but I don't know if people want to put that on the internet.
Yeah, I just felt bad for the guy. I was like, damn, he didn't deserve that. But it was a good concept, like making the townspeople think like, oh, look what we did, you know?
Yeah, and I feel like they're using really good ideas that the other films have implemented, but in some ways I don't know if it's better. Like, did you think the mob in this movie was better than in Halloween 4?
Halloween 4. I don't know. I can't really remember specifically what it was like in Halloween 4.
I feel like this was a little more ham-fisted. Like, I thought it was weird when Tommy Doyle was going around to all the gas stations just, like, telling everybody what's what.
Yeah.
I thought that montage was weird. And it didn't really, like, lead to much, except, I guess, that angry mob at the hospital. But I don't know, were those all the same people that he was talking to that just unified?
Well, yeah, I mean, it seems like the majority of it started at the hospital because a lot of people were there with injured family members or friends, and then he started talking to everyone in the lobby of the hospital and got everyone rallied up.
Boy, he did. Shit was like a Trump rally, dude. They were all riled and ready to go.
Yeah, for real. They were on that evil dies tonight shit.
Yeah, thumbs down to Tommy Doyle for getting that mental patient to kill himself. That was fucked up.
Yeah, I know. That was fucked up. But, yeah. I mean, and eventually the mob did come in handy because at the end, you know, they finally corner him, which that was the big moment for me.
Where you really liked it.
Well, I mean, where I was like, okay, so he was chasing Judy Greer, right? The mom. Michael was.
Yeah, because she had his mask.
Right. So Michael's chasing. Oh yeah, which by the way, I was like getting a hard on waiting to see the shot of his face without the mask.
We did get a peek at his balding head.
Yeah, I was like, this guy really needs some Rogaine. 40 years of wearing the mask will do that, I guess.
It's way too late.
And you kind of got a little bit of shot of his mutilated face. I mean, obviously it looks burnt, scarred, but I would have liked to see a little bit more. That to me, that's like a, you know, shot of Jason Voorhees' face. Like, we've gotten it in the past. But
so you're saying you would like it more if they humanized Michael and showed his face?
well, no, I don't know. See, that's where I'm very torn. Like, of course, everyone wants to see what's under the mask, but at the same time, making him humanized takes away from, in essence, what he is. Like, even just seeing, like, his hair and, like, his balding head, it just made him seem, like, less, you know, and weaker to me, which it's like, oh, Michael Myers is balding like any other human male. Like, that's dumb.
He's got problems just like you and me.
Yeah, it's like they work him up to be this, like, unkillable evil. It's like, well, I guess Michael Myers can defeat everything except hair loss.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I think either give us the full frontal face shot or keep the mask on. Not in between, you know.
Yeah, those just have these shit.
Yeah, but yeah. So, anyways, once all the people confronted him and he's in the middle of a mob, I was like, and they all start beating him up. I'm like, there's no way he can survive this, right? Like, this has to be the end. If he survives this, then they are answering the question 100%. This guy is immortal.
Yeah.
You know, if an entire town cannot kill one man, he can't be killed.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. I do not. I don't even like when we see his eyes. I love just the idea that it's this white face with this black.
Yeah.
You can't even see you can't even see his eyes. Like, I love that. So I felt really weird when they had that shot of the back of his balding head as the shiny reflection. Like, I don't know. I had mixed feelings on that. I feel once you take the mask off, like, it's cool to kind of see it like in the first one where it's really out of frame or in darkness. But I feel even seeing him as any kind of human breaks the mystique of, is he, like, you know, a man, or is he, you know, something more?
Yeah.
And I feel the mask does a really good job of helping ride that line that I think taking it off just kind of, I don't know, takes away from a little bit.
Yeah, like, sometimes you forget that there's actually something under the mask. Like, I just get caught up and see him as, like, that's who he is. Like, that's his form, is, like, with the mask and everything. So, yeah, I agree. It takes away from it. Or, like, in the last movie, when he's at the prison and they kind of do a side shot of his face and he has, like a scraggly beard, you know, white hair. It's like, this dude's old.
Yeah. Which, he is old, but I don't know, it's just, again, it's like humanizing him. I don't want to see him as, like, a Ted Bundy or you know, John Wayne Gacy, or, you know, like, he should be beyond just, you know, I know Michael Myers is his name, but it feels like it's a title. You know, these movies make it feel like it's a title more than just his birth name. And so, like, again, I just feel like seeing his face kind of takes away that mystique aspect.
Yeah, I agree. He's more of like a Jason Voorhees type, like, unstoppable killing machine.
Yeah. I mean, and it just, like, I just really liked how they kind of struck that balance of, like, is this guy, like, without seeing his eyes, like, it just makes you wonder, like, what's going on back there. Like, the scene where, and some people probably won't like this because of how just absolutely brutal it is and just visceral to watch, but the scene where he goes into that biracial couple's house and goes and, like, attacks them, and the woman's, like, almost more unconscious, and, like, she just sees Michael just continuously, like, putting more and more knives into this man. And like, it was like almost like watching a big dumb child just tearing the wings off of a mosquito and just like letting it live and just like fucking with it. And it was like it came off as like so visceral and like again that just more than man wrath of nature feel, where it was just, I don't know, it was almost like to an extent like he didn't fully know what he was doing. And I like that unhinged quality. Like,
at first I kind of thought he was looking for like the best knife in the chopping block. He was like, well, that one's not that sharp. How about this one? But yeah, that was pretty.
He was just gonna pull it out. That was good.
Yeah, that was pretty fucked up. The wife was just watching this guy get stabbed so many times.
And I mean, like, that's kind of the sheer brutality that, you know, I feel like this movie did a really good job of, you know, doing without kind of, I feel we're so desensitized to violence that it did, like, kind of cross that line, but I felt like it just fit the theme of the movie more than it was just going out of its own way to show a brutal kill, you know?
Well, yeah. I mean, it shows he really doesn't give a fuck. Like someone said, he's like a 6-year-old child with the strength of a man, and something else. Like, I don't know. There was another part to that.
He's just curious. He's willing to try anything. Like, he's like, you know what? How many knives can I put into this guy? And then it's like, he realized, oh shit, like the wife's waking up. Like, it's so scary and bewildering that it's almost comedy. I feel where it like, and I feel like that's the perfect line that you want in a horror movie, or at least that I want in my horror movie, is that where it's like, it's so I'm just so overwhelmed, like in my senses, that like it's hard to almost like not laugh because it's like partly uncomfortable and partly like, holy shit, like this guy is fucking insane.
Yeah, I agree.
But that's awesome. I don't know, like, and maybe that's nihilistic, but it's a movie.
Yeah, another brutal kill was Big John got his like eyeballs popped out of his head.
They did not cut away.
Yeah, like that was like that Game of Thrones kill where Pedro Pascal gets his freaking eye holes with the thumbs in it. You know what I'm talking about?
The mountain.
Yeah, like Mike just stuck his thumbs right into Big John's eyes and bam.
Yeah, and then Lil Jon had that great moment where he was like, Michael, you've come home. I was like, how did Lil Jon end up with the best line in the movie?
Yeah, and then they didn't even show his kill.
No, which I thought was actually kind of cool. Like, it was, you know, it left it up to the imagination. And then, oh man, I thought it was really creepy actually when he posed them in the way that photo was above them. But then he added that little artistic, you know, that little Michael Myers artistic flair of, you know, flipping the positions of them.
Yeah. Yeah, and how he positioned those other people at the playground with those masks on.
Yeah. Oh, and I thought it was cool how they were rotating on that Lazy Susan and the Shamrock symbol on the back of the mask, which I thought was, you know, a cool incorporation from Halloween 3, a shit movie, in my opinion. But it's art, so, you know, like what you like, except for that, because it's crap.
Yeah, so I guess, like, the conclusion I came away with was, if this guy's ever going to die, he basically has to get his head chopped off or, like, exploded by some kind of atomic bomb.
You think that the government would, like, consider just nuking Haddonfield?
That might be the way to go.
I don't know. I'm not seeing another option here. Like, they had him contained, and now he's out again. Like, God damn. I mean, they don't, everything after Halloween 2 is out of continuity. But, like, come on, you got to see some scary movies in your day. I don't know. Maybe that, or just shove a grenade in his mouth. Get real close to him.
And even then, who knows? Like, even if they cut off his head, he might regrow it like some kind of lizard.
Yeah.
At this point, nothing would surprise me.
No. I feel like, I guess, on that note, like, how do you think Halloween Ends is going to end?
Good question. I wish they had released both of these movies at the same time.
Well, apparently Blumhouse thought about it. But they realized that their box office would not be very good if they released 2 Halloween movies in, like, 2 weeks.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I don't know how they're going to wrap things up in a way that's satisfying for everyone. I mean, you can't always please everybody. Because there's people who are rooting for Michael and there's people who are rooting for Laurie.
Yeah.
I would assume.
Are people rooting for Michael? Do people want to see Laurie killed?
I don't know.
What do the people want? That's not what I want.
Give the people what they want.
You're sick fantasy, Jacob. This is fan fiction.
And then Michael and Laurie make sweet, sweet love.
Well, it's okay this one because they're not, Halloween. They don't have Halloween 2 and the brother-sister thing to worry about, so there's no incestuous vibes.
True.
So that's totally cool. I would definitely. I don't know. I think there'll be a showdown at the Myers home, and then I think then it'll get burned down. Even though Lil Jon and Big John did such a good job of interior decorating, or at least I hired someone who was good, because that house was great.
I don't know, though, if they'll go with burning again, because they just did burning, and obviously it didn't work.
Yeah, but I feel like he won't leave his own home. Like, I think Michael always goes home and has that attachment.
Yeah. So what did you think about, the last twist of the movie pretty much is that Judy Greer's character dies.
Karen. Who's a real Karen throughout the movie, I think. I like Judy Greer, but I thought that character was just not given enough to do, like a lot of characters. But
yeah, I mean, she was a good supporting role, I guess, but I just didn't expect her to die. And
I hated that ending.
Yeah, she could have avoided
that so much. No, it just you know what exactly that felt like to me. The ending of Nightmare on Elm Street from 2011. I mean, it was basically the same thing.
That is pretty bad.
And I hate that. And I hated this. It was like, oh, what? Did he, like, make it up through the house, like, through those EMT workers who were sitting at the front door? Like, is everybody there dead? Like, I know that Allison's character is dead. She's going to be in the next one. So, like, what? Like, I just hate that. It was like, did she actually see something up there? Like, why did she go up there? I thought that was just, like, a symbolic.
Right. Yeah, like.
Shot. I didn't think that was actually from Karen's point of view.
That dumb hoe. All she had to do is not go back in the house.
What a bitch. What a bitch.
I kind of thought that it was going to start getting, possessed by the evil spirit like the freaking doctor did in the last one. Like, I thought she was going to start getting off on, like, the evil vibes of the house.
Who, Karen?
Yeah, she was like breathing in, like she was just like breathing, like she looked like she was kind of getting like a ghost orgasm.
A ghostasm.
Yeah, I was like, what is she about to do? And then, of course, he popped up and stabbed the fuck out of her. I don't know. I mean, he probably has some kind of secret way into the house. Like, he probably went around the back, somehow made it past the EMTs, stabbed the fuck out of her, and then at the beginning of the next one, he'll be gone. They'll find her dead body, and then it starts all over again.
Well, apparently there's a 4-year time jump.
Oh, what?
Yeah, I read something today that David Gordon Green, the director, came out and said that there's going to be a 4-year time jump between this and Halloween Ends. So,
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, overall, I thought it was a good watch. I thought it deserved better than the reviews it got. I liked how true it stayed to the original feelings of the older movies, and some ideas could have been executed better, but overall, I thought it was, classic Michael Myers doing what he does, just killing people and not giving a fuck.
Chopping wood.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't really disagree. It just felt like it. And I think I'm more disappointed in it because, I mean, more critical of the things that you love. And I know that this franchise isn't very good as a whole, like outside of one. I mean, I really like 2, but, everything else is like,
Yeah.
not great. So, but I also love this franchise, so I feel like, and I saw a lot of good ideas in here. I just wish that they were more thought out and like integrated into the story, So like that did disappoint me. And I also felt like, I don't know, like I said, I stand by that this movie felt a little bit just like a filler. Like not a lot kind of happened, and it felt a lot of table setting for Halloween Ends. But, I did enjoy a lot of the kills of Michael Myers, but,
Yeah.
So, it was okay.
I think it definitely could have been improved if Busta Rhymes had been in it. You looking like some chicken fries. The fuck up. Yeah, that should be our podcast catchphrase. You looking like some
maybe they can bring
fries.
Busta Rhymes back.
For real.
Get him to write a song. You remember that era where like musicians would hop on a project and then like just like Will Smith in the 90s with like Wild Wild West and like Men in Black, and like he was just writing a song for like every movie he was in? Bring that back. Bring back Halloween. Bring back Busta Rhymes. Get him to do, or LL Cool J, bro. Get them back in the same movie. They can make maybe they can make a whole album.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I always was a big fan of Will Smith's music stuff.
Yeah.
A little getting jiggy with it action.
Yeah, I bet you are.
Get jiggy with it. Yeah. Well, I think that we gave the viewers a good, wholesome feel of what this movie's all about. The good and the bad.
Yeah.
I'm excited for the next one. As long as they keep making them, I'll keep watching them.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I can say that I'm torn because I am excited for the next one, but at the same time, they got me by the balls here. Like, I gotta see the next one.
Of course.
Like, so I'll keep complaining and they'll keep making them, and I'll keep seeing them because I have to. So.
Yeah. Shout out to Peacock sponsoring this episode.
Yeah, thanks, Peacock. I paid $10 this month for your premium no ad service. You know what? I'm gonna keep an open mind. I mean, I got Halloween Kills, $10, dude. That's like going to the theater.
Yeah, for real.
So,
but we didn't have to buy overpriced popcorn.
Yeah.